So if you would just join me as we turn within, resting in that pure place of potentiality, wisdom, and light, knowing that it is the grace of Spirit that is around, through, and as each and every one of us. That beauty, that harmony, that peace, that joy, that goodness that I know that is God. And knowing that that good is always there for me. That good that is the all in all. And knowing that that good is that expression of the universe supporting, loving, and conspiring in its own behalf to express in, through, and as me, and as each and every person that is here tonight for this revealing experience. And how wonderful it is that we have come together this evening on this first day of spring, knowing that spring is about growth, and that tonight we have another opportunity to grow on our spiritual path, to open our hearts, to listen, to hear the beautiful words and wisdom of Reverend Sunshine, and to take that message within, and to allow the music to fill our hearts and bring us even to a greater place of realization of that divine presence. So simply knowing that this evening is a beautiful gift to each and every one of us, I am so filled with gratitude as I bless this time, and I bless each and every person here for your contribution to this wonderful, magnificent experience, knowing that we go forward filled with the love and the joy of Spirit. And so it is. Amen. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our revealing experience. So glad that you were able to join us this evening. My name is Carolyn Holder, and I'm your practitioner for tonight, and it's always so much fun to be here and to be with Reverend Sunshine. She was gone last month, and so it's so nice to be able to be on the podium and have the experience with her and to share in the delight of this service. Tonight, I'm reading from Infinite Possibilities. The author of the book is Mike Dooley, and he's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and I thought it might go along very well with Reverend Sunshine's message, which is Into It, pun intended. She always comes up with these very clever titles, and so I figured maybe I'd be a little saucy with it and read from somebody that was very light and fun and go along with the flow here. So the section that I've chose to read from is called Dwell in Spirit. Let me ask a question. If you could have anything your heart desires, anything at all, what would you want? Whatever you dreamed of, do you have any doubts that the full magic and sorcery of the universe might not be able to deliver exactly what you thought of? Do you think maybe, just maybe, not even God could arrange what you have asked for? Do you have any doubts along those lines? Of course not. You know that if it were up to God, the mystically charged forces of the universe, anything would be possible, and that would certainly be true of granting your wish. The only real doubts you could possibly have, and very likely you do have them, are in yourself. You doubt your ability or your worthiness to achieve your ultimate dreams. You can't do anything without the aid of the universe, so there's no way the physical you can achieve whatever it is you want. Never, never, never. Unless, of course, you enlist the help of the universe. So stop thinking of it as if you have to figure everything out. You and I and everyone else have led our entire lives thinking that things work the other way around, that we must metaphorically carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. But it is time to make a concerted effort to begin undoing the brainwashing. Dwell in spirit. Get used to taking your every challenge and problem there. And whatever you want something, immediately turn it over to the universe and realize the real work that needs to be done lies beyond your physical reach. And so it is. So now it is my joy to invite up to our podium Reverend Sunshine Daye.
Thank you, Carolyn, for that reading and that prayer. And thank you to Jim Bianchi and Christina Veronica for the beautiful opening music this evening. Welcome, everybody. Hi. Can I tell you how much I love being here? I love being here. This is one of the highlights of my week, to simply show up and allow the presence of Spirit to speak in, through, and as me, to simply share with you some of the stuff that has been going on in terms of my own spiritual growth and unfoldment, and then to listen and to share in community and hear your growth and unfoldment. It just makes my socks roll up and down. My talk title today is Intuit. Pun intended. Intuit. Our intuition. How many of us think our intuition is really good? Let me just see by, Yeah? I used to think the same thing. I used to think I had good intuition, that I could read people, that, the moment that I met you, I got that feeling, and I knew whether we were going to be cool or whether we were going to be not so cool. I thought my intuition was so on point that if there was a situation that I could just kind of like, and that the answers would magically come forth. And what I got to realize is that still small voice within was sometimes that intuition, but that a lot of times it was very ego-based, very fear-based, based on stereotypes, biases, and prejudices. And certainly I can't really admit that, so don't let it go beyond these walls. Turn off the camera. No, seriously, how many times do we really live life and think that we're getting this intuitive hit, and it's really something that's based in our bias or our prejudices or some stereotype that we've heard because, after all, all of them do such and such and such. Or, that's a bad neighborhood. When you go through, sometimes people are just kind of going through and they go, oh, look at the neighborhood, and they clutch their purse or they hold on to their wallet a little, tighter, and they think it's intuition. And sometimes it's really based, right? Seriously, sometimes it's really based on our own biases or stereotypes or prejudices, and we act in a certain way as a result of these ideas. And let's face it, we can't help it. We can't help it unless we're being very conscious about what we read, what we watch, what we listen to, because everything, including the media, including some of our spiritual communities, including some of our teaching institutions, will always drive us to believe and to focus in on particular stereotypes about groups of people, whether it's females or males, whether it's based on your race or ethnicity, whether it's based on your age, whether it's based on the neighborhoods that you live in. We get brainwashed if we allow ourselves in a very subtle way You know, what women are supposed to look like, how their figure's supposed to be. I mean, you know, and the minute someone steps outside of that stereotype or that norm that we call it, it's like, wow, what's wrong with that person? Or, you know, how come women are not having babies and getting married or doing particular things? And a lot of times what we think is our intuition, or because intuition says something, sometimes it's not really intuition. Sometimes it's that stuff that we've become accustomed to as our societal norms, whether it's gender norms or whether it's, you know, who's supposed to be in the pulpit. And yet, as spiritual people, we have this divine ability to be intuitive, to follow our intuition. And the key is how do I know the difference between what is truly divinely downloaded, if you will, what is truly spirit knowing itself, what is spirit guiding me to that direction for my highest good and the highest good of others, compared to what's ego-based or what's just some of that race consciousness that I bought into, like it's flu season or, you know, that flu that's going. I mean, you know, it's just like, oh, if someone sneezes, I might think it's intuition to walk the other way because I don't want what she got. But is it really? Or have I, in fact, bought into some of the race consciousness that is so prevalent in our society, in our world? You know, we've been following The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown this month, and she speaks to this idea of intuition and to this idea that we get these particular hits, we get these particular maybe still small voices or these particular ideas that just kind of come to us. And the question is whether we have the courage to follow the intuition, or whether we begin to doubt ourselves and, Christina, is it okay if I talk about this? Or Jim, you know, do you think that I should do it this way because, you know, people might start talking? Or Jan, you know, I was thinking, I have this idea and, you know, I think it's intuitive, but I don't know. Do you think I should do it? We begin to ask people on the outside of us because we want to maybe secretly have someone to blame if it doesn't go right. Or because we begin to doubt ourselves and we begin to doubt the great I am presence that is within us, that is simply revealing itself in, through, and as our very lives and revealing to us that which is for our highest good. And yet we begin to doubt it and ask others their opinion as to whether it's a good idea or not. How many people know what I'm talking about? Because y'all awfully silent tonight. I might be hitting on something here. My intuition tells me that I'm touching some spots here. And yet, when we really, really allow ourselves to listen, sometimes the word, the message, sometimes the action that we are given to take seems pretty drastic or pretty big. I mean, in Bible times, of course, you know, lots of great people got messages and they got these intuitive hits, you know, like talking to a burning bush. Like, really? Am I really here talking to this burning bush? Because I probably look really silly if someone were to go by on their camel or their horse and I'm here talking to this burning bush and this bush is telling me to go. Say that the great I am has sent me. I mean, you know, like stuff like that. Today, I don't know that we really get messages like that profound. But indeed, when they are our own messages about life's choices, about the course we should take, about even getting more information. What do we do with that information? Do we simply chalk it off? Do we simply discard it? Do we actually listen? You know, Brene seems to think that it's really important to examine the message, that it's important for us to take a look at what it is, because in that message, in that intuition, in that intuitive hit lies the answers. And unless we are participating in a daily practice, in a regular practice, to differentiate the difference between what's ego or what's fear or what's our own personal biases and what is actually our intuition speaking to us and guiding us, what's that still small voice, which is the great I am presence speaking to us in a language that we understand, unless we are actively in a spiritual practice to be able to differentiate the difference between one and another, that sometimes we confuse ourselves. And yet that these intuitive hits, this intuition is there to guide us, to show us, to help us to reveal the great I am presence that is living in, through, and as our very life. And unless we can decipher this truth, we continue to just kind of live in this unconscious state of being. Ricky Byers-Beckwith calls it sleepwalking. That we're actually really asleep, not really aware of what's going on. It's almost like the Dunkin' Donuts guy. Time to make the donuts, time to make the donuts. How many of us have such a routine in life that we just keep doing that over and over again, and we totally bypass all of the intuitive hits that are available to us, because Spirit is constantly broadcasting, and unless we're tuning in, unless we're consciously aware, the broadcast for our life, the broadcast so that we know who we are, the broadcast about how we can, in fact, reveal the great I am that is within us, that is us, all of that stuff just falls by the wayside. It's kind of like passing billboards and not reading them. It's just like speeding through life. And yet, as a spiritual community, it is our mandate, if you will, to be able to be in a spiritual practice that helps us to determine what intuition is compared to what's just that mind chatter of race consciousness. And that spiritual practice is totally personal. Because, of course, you know, around here we can tell you about our affirmations and our prayer and our meditation and those things right there, just those three things, never mind visioning and sacred service. Those things help us to really get in touch with the truth of who we are. When we commune, when we tabernacle with Spirit, when we're in the silence, when we're simply getting to know God for the sake of knowing God, we're able to easily differentiate the difference between intuition and ego, or intuition and that mind chatter, race consciousness. And as we develop this practice more and more and more, when we get into situations that baffle us, when we get into those situations that are a little bit hairy, when we get into situations where we are, let's say, getting angry or upset, Because we engage in a spiritual practice, intuition is able to pierce through and simply remind us, shh, shh. And for those of us who are a little more stubborn, Spirit is able to step in and go, shut up. Sit down. Sit your butt down. Listen. You don't have enough information right now. Be quiet. Gather more information. Know the truth of who you are. Shh. Don't talk to that person that way. That's me you're speaking to. Relax. Don't move until you're given to move. Don't speak until you're given to speak. Don't take the action until you're given to take the action. So many times in life when I've been in situations where it just seems like there are competing priorities. In that moment where it can be total chaos, in that moment where me or you or anyone could just throw their hands up in the air and yell, I don't know what to do. Because of our spiritual practice, because of a daily practice, because of that communion with Spirit, because we practice becoming still and listening, when those moments come where it's total chaos, there is always something that pierces through. It's this intuition, this knowing. Ernest Holmes calls it spirit knowing itself. That's what intuition is. It's spirit knowing itself. And when we're in those sticky or hairy situations, when we're in those places where we don't know what to do, but our spiritual practice calls us to go to that place of saying, okay, I don't know what to do, but I know that the great I am presence within me knows exactly what to do, and that it is being revealed to me in a manner and a language in which I understand right now, and I shut up. And I allow myself to listen to that still small voice that is God speaking to me, God speaking in, through, and as me, that inevitably every situation works out for our highest good. But we got to dig. Brene Brown says we got to dig deep. You know, and I love it when folks who are not necessarily science and mind people or new thought people write books that totally relate to our teaching, which is exactly what she's doing here. It kind of breaks it down in everyday language. And she says, when we're in that situation, we have to dig deep. We have to dig deep. And she talks about the D as being deliberate. I'm going to find it pretty soon. But because I read it, I know. The D in dig is being deliberate. That we have to be deliberate about our intention of knowing our life really as the life of God. That we have to be still. That we have to really be in a place where we sit. She says, get deliberate. Letting go of certainty is one of my greatest challenges. I even have a physical response to not knowing. It's anxiety, fear, vulnerability, all combined. That's when I have to get very quiet and still. Go ahead, Doctor. Dr. Brene Brown's getting quiet and still. We know what that's like. We call it meditation. We call it prayer. We call it contemplation. We call it tabernacling with the Spirit, being in community with the Spirit. She does the same thing. That's when I have to get very quiet and still. Whatever it takes, I have to find a way to be still so I can hear what I'm saying, which translates for us is so we have to be very still so we can hear what the great I am is saying. That in that still small voice, right? And the I is get inspired in spirit. Get inspired. And she says that the process of reclaiming my spiritual and faith life was not an easy one. She says that I absolutely love the quote from Paolo, the alchemist. Intuition is really a sudden immersion of the soul into the universal current of life, where the histories of all people are connected and where we're able to know everything because all is written there. Okay? Translation to science of mind, philosophy, new thought. What is known in one place is known everywhere. What is known in the mind of God is known in each and every one of us, for we have access and we are living and having our beingness in God. Therefore, when we get inspired, when we get in the Spirit, we're simply connecting with that great I am presence because what is known in one place is known everywhere. That means that when I get inspired, the answers are available to me right now. That's what Brene Brown said. That's what Ernest Holmes said. That's what Truett said. That's what all of the great writers have said. And you know what? I'm sure that it is also what you say, because I'm sure that each of us have experiences, whether big or small, whether it was just a testing it out or whether we've been doing this for a long time and we can tell about all the times where we've been inspired, where we've been still. Where we've had situations where we've been confused and we have to dig deep and get still and listen and become inspired. Ah, there's the answer. There's that answer. And it doesn't happen just a fluke. Oh, it's not like hitting the lottery that it's, your chances are 1 in 52,000 or whatever the odds are. What we know is that as a result of our spiritual practice, that intuition, that when we get into it, when we get into our spiritual practice, when we get into it, that it is into us, that inspiration comes easily and effortlessly, that it becomes the default of our life. Imagine that it becomes the default of our life, that we have every day to live, and that when situations come up, that we live from that inspired place. That we simply know exactly what to say and when to say it, and whom to speak to, and who needs that hug. That we live from that place of inspiration. That we live from that place of intuition. God knowing itself, Spirit knowing itself. And then lastly in the G, she said, get going. She says, when I'm really scared or unsure, I need something right away to calm my cravings for certainty. For me, it's the serenity prayer. And many of us know that serenity prayer. It's that getting going. It's like, okay, let me get going. Let me get into this right here that calms me, that soothes me, that helps me to get still, that helps me to get inspired. Let me tap into this place where I can allow the intuition that is my very life to show up for me. It's very personal. And we have access to it every single moment of our life. If we choose it. If we stay consciously aware of our spiritual practice so that we might develop that way of just having it be the default of our life. That's just the way I roll. You know, like, wow, the occasional intuition is just kind of like the way we live now. Like, that's pretty daggone cool, because when we allow ourselves, like my friend Daniel Nahmad, he has this beautiful song that says, when I lay down the oars to my boat doesn't sink. It just simply follows the flow. It just lets the ocean carry it. So it doesn't sink, but it is simply allowing spirit, allowing life, allowing love to be the guidance and the guide of our life. And the way I'm kind of thinking, one with God as a majority, God is living in, through, and as me, God is the most powerful it that it is, and if I let God run my life, I think I'm batting 1,000. It's going to turn out pretty good, because that's all God is great and good and awesome. And so the way to develop our intuition is to dedicate our conscious time to the practice of getting to know the life of God as our very life. And how we do that here on Wednesday nights is we take some time in the silence, anchoring in the beautiful music that we've heard, anchoring in the reading, anchoring in the prayer, anchoring in the message. So the invitation is to clear your laps and to simply allow your outer eye to close and allow yourself to just breathe into that place within you that has never been hurt, harmed, or touched. It is that place where the great indwelling I am presence lives and has its beingness. It really is no place specifically in the body as much as it is just in our awareness and in our consciousness. And as we just spend a few minutes here in the silence, we're just allowing ourselves to get to know ourselves in such an intimate and personal way. We're just gonna get into it. We're just gonna get into it right here. We're gonna allow life to show up as us, in us. We're going to allow life to simply hold us and speak to us in a language that we understand. We're simply going to allow it to reveal to us in a big way that truth which is only for us to know. to be so still, where we allow the great I am, where we allow the indwelling presence to speak to us. In a language that we understand. How grateful I am for this time in the silence where we have another opportunity to get to know our life as a life that is God. Where we get to know that that which is true about Spirit is true about us. Where we have the opportunity to simply anchor in the truth and the knowingness of our life. Where we have the opportunity to simply tune in to that eternal broadcast that is simply God speaking and broadcasting that which is for our greatest good. How grateful I am that we use purposefully this time for our own edification, that we may become beneficial presence on this planet, that we may be that revealing center of truth, of love, of joy, that we might be so in tune, that we might be so into it, that intuition, that God, that Spirit speaks in, through, and as us with ease and with grace, that we know exactly what to say and when to say it, to whom to speak with, that we allow this indwelling guiding force to move in, through, and as us, and that as a result of living from intuition, from this deeper knowing of self, from this deeper knowing of Spirit knowing Spirit, Spirit knowing itself as our very life, that we indeed are a blessing unto the world. That we indeed allow our light to shine, that others might see and be drawn to the light and see their own light. So for this, I give thanks. For this spiritual community, I give thanks. For those who have shown up to be of sacred service, I give thanks. For those who have come to listen and to give and to receive, to participate in the reciprocal nature that is life, I give thanks. For the sacred yes, I give thanks. How grateful I am to be the one to speak this truth and to know it for my very own. To know a little bit more, because we're here in spiritual community, that because we have said yes to one another, how grateful I am that I get to know a little bit more than I did before I walked in here, that my life is that life that God is, and that that is the same truth for each and every one of us. How grateful I am for this truth. That we might live from this place of glory, from this place of peace, from this place of love, from this place of truth, that we might share this love with all whom we come into contact with, that they too may know their truth. For this I give thanks, that we have a place to come to, day after day, week after week, to be this gentle reminder, to be this place that embraces us, that loves us up. For this I am grateful. Indeed, for all things and in all things, we give thanks. When we allow this prayer to be made manifest. For we are indeed in agreement. And if we are indeed in agreement, together we say, and so it is. Amen. We are a powerful meditating group. Did you feel that energy in here? It was amazing. Thank you for bringing your consciousness to that, because without you, it would have been just a little bit off. I'd like to invite our ushers forward, because it is indeed our time of giving, our conscious giving time where we give of our gifts that we've brought to share with the spiritual community, that it continues to grow and flourish, that it continues to be a beneficial presence for all those who enter these doors and who are indeed blessed by the words and the messages that come forth from our workshops and our classes and our Sunday services and our Wednesday services. Make sure that before you leave that you take a look at the table outside, for there's so many activities and things that are happening in this spiritual community that is here to uplift us and to help us to recognize and remember the truth of who we are. And it is to this that I simply joyfully give of my gifts and tithes, simply blessing that which you have also brought, knowing that we use it not only to bring the message here, but also to bring the message into the world. So thank you. And as you hold your gifts and your offerings in your heart, in your hand, give from that place of gratitude. Think of something or someone that you're grateful for, and give from that place of gratitude. Because as you give from that place of gratitude, you are indeed blessed abundantly. And so you continue to participate in the reciprocal nature of life, in the ebb and the flow, in the giving and the receiving. So give from this place joyfully. Joyfully. It should not hurt. We give from this place joyfully. So, ushers, go forth and multiply this consciousness. And as you give, you shall receive. And you shall receive right now the blessings and the gifts of our vocalists that we've had here for this month of March. It is my joy and privilege to welcome back to the stage Christina Veronica as she blesses us with her beautiful music.
Last week after service, I asked Reverend Sunshine what her talk was going to be about today, and she said, don't worry about it. She said, you just go ahead and sing what you want to sing, and boy, was she right. I wrote this song called For Your Grace, and it fits in perfectly with today's talk. I'm so grateful. There is a place I want to know, somewhere down deep inside it is the place I want to go, beyond my busy mind. Sometimes it's hard for me to listen, it gets so very hard to hear. That's when I think I might be missing the very thing I hold most dear. So I sit and I pray, I listen and wait. I'm waiting for your grace. So I sit and I pray, I listen and wait. I'm waiting for your grace every day. There is a place I want to know, somewhere down deep inside is the place I want to go, beyond my busy mind. Someone that's hard for me to listen, it's so very hard to hear. When I think I might be missing wait. I'm waiting for your grace. So I sit, and I wait, I wait. I'm waiting for your grace. So I sit and I pray, I listen and wait. I'm waiting for your grace. For your grace. For your grace. For your grace.
And so it is. Nice.
Beautiful, Christine.
That was perfect. That was perfect. It fit right in, didn't it? All right. Well, you know, it's time where the community gets to speak. And we have a few minutes to hear from someone who is ready to speak. Hello, beloved. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Is this on? Déjame ver si está prendido. Yes, it's on.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, hello. Well, I want to give a lot of thanks to you for being such an open channel for divine love, invigorating energy to flow in this space. Because I work in San Diego in a school, and I come completely drained, and I don't want even to drive. My daughter picks me up and brings me here, and when I leave, I leave stress-free, no stress, and completely energized. So I really thank you very much for all this, being such an open channel for divine love to flow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And everybody here also.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. It's my joy to be here. I love being here, and I love the energy that everybody brings because we do this in community together. Did you have your hand up? No? Okay. Then we'll go right here.
Well, I was at Henry's, and I was planning to come right over here. It was at 7 o'clock, I think. And I came out, my car battery was not working. So I said, well, I guess I'm not going to make it here. And I put out a word to the angels. I said, well, if I'm supposed to be here, let's make it happen. So usually it takes a half an hour for them to even get there, the AAA, and or later. They were like right there in 5 minutes, and the battery started up. I'm here, and to enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night. So my sunshine, the sun, and my name is Sun, so you're my shine in my sun.
Ah.
My sun is shining. So I appreciate Spirit, and I walked right in on your meditation. Sorry, I hope I didn't disturb anyone.
No,
but
it was beautiful.
I felt like it was just a total angelic flow, and it all fitted in. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Spirit, for Spirit being available always.
Yep.
And continuously, never without a doubt, for that to be the way it always is.
Yep.
And I appreciate you. Thank you.
And you could have given the talk right there just by what you shared. I mean, you know, here we are. The battery doesn't work, but that intuition, that just like calling upon the angels, calling upon Spirit, if it's meant for me to be there.
And here's another Go
Go
part
ahead.
of it is
See?
that the guy wanted to sell me a battery. I said, hey, look it, I got my own batteries from Spirit, and they're helping me out. So there we go.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. It's right on time. We have time for one more. Who shall it be? Okay, we have a demonstration. Folks know what a demonstration is? Yeah. All right, she's going to tell us about one.
So I'm new to Encinitas, and I'm trying to start up my private piano business because that's what I do. And I've been praying for students. And I met a woman who was praying for a piano teacher, not for her family. She's a music teacher and has too many piano students. So I just inherited a whole business. Just thank you, God.
Wow. That's just the way it works. That's just the way it works. So notice she didn't say, oh, I was, just wishing and hoping that I would get some students. She said she prayed about it, which means consciously giving of our time, that she sat with it, that she was with it, that she began to see it, to envision it, to know that she wouldn't be brought here to Encinitas and then just be left dangling. Good luck. No. Right? She was led to pray about it. She was led to be with it. And whatever it is that is upon our hearts, take the time to be with it. Take it to Spirit. Take it to God. Take it to that indwelling place. As a matter of fact, we have a gift for you tonight, as we do every night. If there's something like that you want prayer with, we have practitioners, and they would love to pray with you about these very things. You know, Carolyn represented our practitioners here, but we also have practitioners in the back that have been holding the light. They simply know the truth about us. They are professional prayers. They have dedicated over 4 years of time and energy knowing the truth for us. And they're available to us right here in the chapel. So whether it's a prayer of gratitude, or whether there's something on our hearts, or whether we want to see a demonstration, let's utilize our practitioners and give them an opportunity to know the truth with us, to be in spirit and community and in communion with us about a particular thing or topic. So we want to thank all of our practitioners that were holding the light, not only Carolyn, who was up here tonight. We had Carmen in the back, as well as David. Thank you so much for holding the light, for holding vigil for us, and they'll be available after service for prayer. So if you're going to leave out of that way, do so quietly, but really the invitation is for us to hang out in the family room and talk a little bit more about demonstrations, about things in our lives, to really get to know each other in community a little bit more. But before we do that, I want to make sure that I thank Melanie, who did all of our sound tonight, and Tim on our video crew tonight, and thank Jim Bianchi and Christina Veronica for the beautiful music. Thank you so much for the blessings that you are each and every week. And to thank you for showing up, because this combination of people will never be together again in this way. And the energy that we brought is what made tonight possible and so very special. So thank you for showing up tonight. I want to let you know that in our bookstore tonight, I talked to David Kennedy, and he told me that the books for next month are already in. So it's the 40-Day Mind Feast by Dr. Michael Beckwith. And so if you don't have them, you want to make sure you get them, so that this way for the month of April, as we are doing our week-to-week talks and reading for the week, that you have the book that's available for you for the month. I think that's going to be it. We do our prayer here via song. So the invitation is to stand and to la 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 la, stretch those vocal cords as we do our closing prayer and song. And I would love to see you out in the family room for a big old hug, so make sure you come out and get some love and some hugs and some refreshments in the back. Thank you, Jenny, for all you do. I appreciate you.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
All right, let's hang out in the family room.
When I pray, I let go the Spirit. When I pray, gently I hear it. That small voice inside that helps me on my way. I take time to pray. Take time to pray. Trust, don't worry about the direction. Just trust that you're making the right connection. Just trust till it all becomes clear. When I pray, let go the Spirit. When I pray, gently I hear it. That small voice inside that helps me on my way. Take time to pray.